Hello. Hey guys, and hello from Bella.
Yes, we have Bella and
This
Hermione.
is
Bellatrix. And Hermione right there.
And Hermione.
Yeah. So you guys have probably guessed from the title of this video, this is about another surgery I am doing. If you watched our video about my biggest insecurity in the past, it was about my voice. And so we have elected, and I say we because it's something that every decision we've done in this process we've made together. Amanda supports me in getting a procedure called facial feminization. Oh my gosh. And Amanda has supported me in getting a procedure called voice feminization surgery. And I know some of you guys that follow us are familiar with the procedure. In fact, it sounds like some of you have even done it before. And for those of you guys who don't know what this is, I want to see if you can explain it. How would you?
I know what it's called. It's called a modified Windler glottoplasty.
See, I didn't know that.
But they manipulate your vocal cord. I can't talk. It'd be helpful if I could talk. They manipulate your vocal cord mass, right? And lift the larynx.
Yeah.
What else? Did I get that right?
Yeah. And there's different procedures that doctors do out there. And the reason I'm doing this one is because it's the most common one that's been currently done. And I'm actually going to San Francisco to do it. So, but yeah, like what Amanda was saying, is this procedure actually has more to do with cutting off your range in your lower range so that you can just focus on your resonance. And the reason I say that is a lot of people think of a surgery like this that suddenly you're gonna wake up and sound like a princess, but it's not like that. There's a lot of voice training that's involved. But the luxury of it is that you don't have to worry about dropping into your lower register. And that's been something that's been kind of hard for me, kind of self-conscious. And, I hate that it bothers me. And I know on some higher part of me that, like, I don't owe it to anyone to try to blend in. But then there's also that part of me that just wants to do it as well. So one question I do have for you, though, is, and I imagine you guys are wondering, is how do you feel about my voice changing?
I want to tell you all a little bit about Growth Therapy, who is sponsoring today's video. Therapy has been such an important part of caring for my mental health. I tend to be a pretty anxious person, and for a long time, I was afraid to ask for help because I wanted to be able to take care of my mental health on my own. But since I've been in therapy, I've realized how important it is to have a sounding board to help me to question my anxious thoughts. I recommend Growth Therapy because it streamlines the process of finding good therapists that offer both virtual visits and in-person care. I've noticed that for me, the hardest part of therapy is a lot of times just getting started. Their website is really helpful because I was able to filter by my state, my insurance company, and my specific therapy needs. The way Growth Directory is set up makes it easier to try a couple different providers. If you have been finding it hard to prioritize your mental health, I can tell you from experience that you don't have to do it on your own. If you'd like to learn more about Growth Therapy, click the link in our description below.
And Amanda's getting my dandruff out. Did you get it?
The curse of black hair. If you could explain to people, what is it like living with your current voice? Like, what are some everyday scenarios where like that comes up for you? How do you feel having a lower voice?
Yeah, it's funny. It's whenever I'm in public. And it's not that I am bothered by it as much when I'm with friends and loved ones that I trust. It's when I'm in public, and I know obviously people look at me because I'm 9 feet tall, but it's one more thing that when people approach me, that I know the second I speak, it's something that is going to code me as being trans. I say that with hesitancy because there's nothing wrong with that, other than that I don't know if you guys know, but the world we live in isn't always the most kind. And we do live in a very conservative state. And so, I don't know, it's just like one more layer of protection. And it's also just affirming, so.
Yeah. Well, and there's been lots of times when we're out places and it's very clear in the way that people are approaching Shaye that they don't perceive her as trans. And so then at least it's very clear to me, like, I think that's a moment where you get a little bit in your head and nervous about speaking because you think it'll be
harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, I don't know.
What about like over the phone?
Oh yeah.
Is that hard?
Oh yeah. Every time I answer the phone, I'm getting sir.
Sir,
So,
all the time. Yeah.
which it's so strange. Like I wish everyone could experience this, but when you step into how you want to be seen in the world as a trans person, and then you answer the phone or someone calls you and they use, in my case, he, him pronouns, it kind of like shakes you. You're just like, oh, it's kind of like this out of body experience of like my former self. Again, these are things that probably may not bug everyone, but if there's something out there that can help with that, that's why I want to approach this. So.
Well, and this process has been like one step at a time, right? And I remember you can't really think about all of it at the same time, which is totally understandable. But it seems like once you started becoming more comfortable, like physically in your transition, then it became more apparent, like, oh, this is actually something that really bothers me. So it's like one of the many layers of identity and gender expression. So it makes a lot of sense. Well, and I think it's something that most of us would just take for granted, you know, like, and I know that feeling of like, we post videos, we post content online, and just like being a cis woman, sometimes I'll hear my voice back and I'll be like, oh, like my speaking voice or my singing voice.
I don't think anyone likes hearing their own voice, but
yeah,
it just adds another layer.
I'm sure it's like an amplified version of that, where you're like, oh, that doesn't really feel like me. And you've been through a process of trying to figure out like the best way to go about this, right? Like you did vocal training for a while.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I was so stubborn. We probably told you guys this in the past, but I wasn't socially presenting until I got facial feminization surgery.
Which is unusual.
Yeah.
It's pretty
And
unusual.
I don't recommend that either. But it's just for me, it was like I needed to look in the mirror, feel comfortable enough to even try to put any effort into my presentation. So one question I do have for you though is, and I imagine you guys are wondering, is how do you feel about my voice changing, knowing that you have been with me all these years? And
yeah, it's funny. I don't think I'm that attached to the sound of your voice.
my voice is that bad. It's like,
One thing I wonder.
She's like, thank God. It's like,
Shaye is definitely a mumbler. And so I'm really curious as your voice changes. Like sometimes I wonder if I like am part deaf or something, but I'll be like all day long, right? I took a couple years ago, I started this habit of just repeating phonetically what I heard back to her, because sometimes I'm like, what are these words? I don't understand. So just like repeating it back, and then you'd realize, oh, that doesn't sound like English. And you would enunciate. And so I'm interested on like a communication level. I think there's going to be a learning curve with that. Right. But I don't think I feel attached. Like when we watch like old family videos or whatever, your voice already sounds a lot different from when it did back then. Like not only the pitch, but the manner, like your mannerisms of speaking. So yeah, I don't think it'll bother me at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like I've been unmasking, I guess, if you will, like with my voice. And as I've been able to present more, I feel like I've been able to lean into more of those aspects with my voice, but it's not enough for me, and that's why I want to take this additional step. So it doesn't bother you. You conveyed that to me, and that's just something I would imagine maybe some of you guys are wondering about, because you've known me for how many years now, and but that's the funny thing is, so if you hear old videos of just how you even talked like 15 years ago, people's voices change. You don't even recognize it. Like I was listening to your voice. We had when we had our first baby, and like the way you enunciate things, and it's just funny. We change gradually. So my voice is going to change, and one day I'll sound like an old grandma. So
well, and I think I might have mentioned this on the other video, but my journey's been like the opposite, where I spoke as a young girl, like in a very like a high docile voice. And then when I became a professional, and I stood up, got used to standing up in front of a class and lecturing, I learned how to use my lower register. But that feels empowering to me, to be able to just, my voice doesn't sound like an apology, right? It sounds firm, and I know what I'm talking about or whatever. But that is expression that I think is really powerful, and it has to do with so many different parts of intonation and pitch and all of that. And so it makes perfect sense to me that this would be an important thing and something you've considered carefully. It's, you know, I think to people who are casually following our journey, it's like, oh, wow, there's just a lot of modifications for a person to go through, but you're living with this every day. And so it's something you have been thinking about for a long time.
So by the time we put this video up, I may have or may not have gone under surgery. I do have a 2-week vocal rest. And we may even share that journey with you guys. We might vlog it. If you want to hear about that or follow that, let us know. We're trying to do better about posting more often. And my hope in this, honestly, is that I can feel more comfortable speaking. We joke about in every video that we have this following we've grown on TikTok and Instagram where we're sharing short form, but I'm never ever really talking. And it's, you know, people bring it up, but I'm just like, anyways, so I think it'll be just kind of an empowering, hopefully an empowering situation for me. And like I said, the healing process, I think it takes actually a full year to fully recover. So for a while, I'll probably sound a little bit like I was a chain smoker or something like that. So.
Well, and there's still quite a bit of vocal training. What's interesting about gender affirming care is it is such a process, right? So the surgery will really help, but then it'll be a journey after that, just like finding that expression. So that will make vlogging super fun for a while.
So again, let us know if you want Amanda to vlog, because I won't be talking, but maybe share experience of what that procedure entails and going to San Francisco. Amanda's never been there, so.
I've never been. I'm excited.
Okay. Well, we love you guys as always. We really do. We appreciate your love and support, and we read your comments. So
yes, thank you.
See you. Bye.
Bye.